Hello everyone. Today our In Conversations With is going to be with Father Micheal Wall. So Father Wall, you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Hello there. Good morning, everybody. But I presume it's morning. As she said, my name is Father Micheal Wall. I am originally from Drumcollar in County Limerick, so I'm here on the Cork-Limerick border, and we are, celebrating at the moment because we beat Cork on Sunday. Okay, just don't want to rub it in, but that's the fact. I'm a priest at Diocese of Limerick. Went to college in Maynooth and all that, that stuff, all that college stuff. I gave my first lecture in Mary I in 1982. I was a part-timer, very much a part-timer. I came in what you now know as LG9, and that was Count Cora at the time. It was the big super duper hall at the time. We just came in and I didn't know any staff or anything. I just came in, gave my lecture and disappeared. I came full-time to Mary I as chaplain and lecturer in the year 2000. So in a sense, I suppose most things that students do, most things that happen to students, most difficulties that they have and most joys that they have, I've seen them all at this stage.
In it all.
So that's basically where I am. So I'm chaplain and lecturing here. I'm chaplain, but also lecturing here in Mary I.
So you touched on it there a bit, but what is chaplaincy and what can chaplaincy offer for the students of MIC?
Okay, basically chaplaincy, obviously I'm Roman Catholic priest. Now, you will see me around the campus, and it's always that way. The college is not closed, so you'll recognize me, no problem. But we are part of the suite of support services. Now, obviously, we are faith-based in the sense that I'm a Roman Catholic priest, but we are open to students of all faiths, different faiths, and no faith, right? And there's a whole, and people can be at different stages on that, a spectrum. People can be very, very solid, very kind of enthusiastic about their faith, very fervent, or they can be very iffy. And it all depends on what their life experiences are and what has happened. So basically our job is to journey with students. That's really what we do in chaplaincy. Yes, there are a number of practical things to it. I suppose, which are useful to know. One, we have the college chapel, and I suppose, okay, everybody's familiar with UCC and the Honan Chapel and the kind of that has a certain notoriety. But we have our one, in actual fact, is quite nice as well. It's theirs. It was built in 1903, so it's 120 years old, and it is a nice, quiet place. You can go in, you can just sit down, pray, think, meditate. You can go up and write a note on the intention book if you wish. So that's one of the places we have. The other one that we have around the side from that is the meditation room, and that's basically a quiet room. Lots of people go there for all kinds of things. Some people just go to sleep. More people kind of go to cry if they're kind of upset. More people just when they want to get away, and you go there and you sit down. And we'd ask everybody who use it to let it, to go in there, use it, leave it the way you found it, and don't disturb with anybody else.
Exactly.
And then for others, they may not be too comfortable with religious symbols, depending on what faith tradition they come from, etc. So we have a symbol-free meditation room as well in G33B. As you come down in the foundation building, you turn left as you come down, as I call it, the corridor. It's the Lourdes corridor, but I call it the corridor with the flowers, and you turn left at the first possible option, and it's in around there, and that's that one. And then we have the chaplaincy hospitality room, I suppose, which is probably the one that the most activity is in, really. That's T108. That's what it is. So it's tier 1 and it's 08. It's easy enough found. It's behind the bar, but you won't see the bar open during the daytime, and it's alongside the box office for the lime tree. So that's where it is. So when you're standing on top of the stairs or top of the forum there, looking down at the steps, it's over to your right. And in there, we would have, you will meet the two co-op students. The two co-op students, in actual fact, in this semester is David Egan and Ciara Maxwell. Both of them are doing BAs, they're third year BAs, they're doing psychology and English. In the second semester, we've Kate Hogan, but the more immediate ones are obviously David Egan and Ciara Maxwell. And their job is basically to support students, to be with them, to talk to them. A lot of the questions the students have, they will know the answers to. right? Where to go, what to do, how you do this, how you do that, how you do something else. And as well as that, the hospitality room is very much a place for meeting. Now, a little bit of a problem, I suppose. COVID creates a little bit of a problem. I mean, in previous times, there would be a lot of people in there. They'd be sitting on top of each other,
Definitely.
and all that kind of crack. That's a bit more curtailed. We'll have to see how that pans out with the project. Now, we've had, I mean, the co-op students tend to be quite varied in interest. I suppose our two more famous co-op students in recent times, Cian Lynch, who's now going to be, presumably, third of the year. He was my co-op student 3 years ago, and 2 years ago was Tim O'Mahony, who was playing for Cork. So we've had a variety of kind of skills, a variety of interests, a variety of people work. They work with me as part of a team. We call ourselves Chaplaincy.
That sounds fantastic. And you've touched there on, like, you know, a lot of the work that you do as chaplain, but something that you also offer as chaplain is the ability to give eye grades to students. Could you talk about that a bit and kind of explain that?
Okay, I suppose, so basically, I suppose when you look at a chaplain, our job is to journey with people, be that good or bad. And I'll come back a little bit to that in a minute. Róisín there asked about eye grades. Now, there were things that they will affect you or may affect you. An eye grade basically means incomplete grade. That's what it means. So either you were unable to do an exam, or you were unable to do a particular assignment or a particular part of the exam. That's what it means. And when you apply for an eye grade, it has a big advantage. If you fail an exam and you repeat it, you're capped at a C3. So no matter how good you do it, you can give a name one answer, you will only get a C3 for it. Also, obviously, if you just miss the thing and repeat it, you have to pay for it. An eye grade, you don't. So it is important to think about the eye grades. Now, there are 3 different kind of categories, I suppose, so 3 different areas. If you have a medical condition, a medical issue, like maybe an appendix operation, something it doesn't have to be massive, but something that prevents you from doing that exam at that particular point in time, you get a cert normally from your doctor or normally from whatever place you had your bit of a procedure, and you bring that to the medical centre and they write a note for you saying, yes, Róisín is authentic and she did have that. So yeah, you get the eye grade on the basis of that. If you have personal issues that require you going to the counsellor, etc., you get a note from the counsellor saying, well, the person was not in a position at that point in time to do this particular thing, and they support that. If it's a bereavement, if it's a family illness, a family difficulty, family upset, that can be all kinds of things. You come to us in chaplaincy and I will write a note for you and say, look, this is a genuine student. This genuinely did happen. It put them out of kilter and they just couldn't do the stuff, and you get your eye grade. Now, what I would say is it is important, if you think there's something going to stop you or you're not going to be able to do or get the thing in before the deadline, apply for the eye grade. You can always apply for the eye grade beforehand. Okay, if it turns out that everything works out smoothly and you can do the exam or you can do the assignment, no harm done. But it is much more difficult to do something, not do a great job in it, and then decide, somebody says, oh, well, sure, there was lots of hassle going on in your house, there was sickness, your dad was sick, you was in hospital or whatever. It's much more difficult to argue the point at that stage retroactively. So I'd be inclined to go for the eye grade early on. And basically, you can easily do it. You either go to the Student Service, Student Academic Affairs, that's SAA office, and Carrie Ryan and Deirdre O'Riordan, and I think Lisa Leahy now as well. And you get the form from them, or you can go into the college website, go into forms and find the eye grade form and fill it up. Again, I suppose in all those things, forms, the more complete you fill them, the better it is. But and then you get a supporting letter from either me for the bereavement and family upheaval, the medical from the medical centre, and the personal issues from the counsellors. But they are important, all right. Yeah.
And you touched there again a bit on how the chaplaincy, will be running quite different because of COVID. So what way will the chaplaincy operate in semester one?
Okay, I mean, I did say we basically kind of travel with people, kind of travel the road with them, and that's in terms of Sometimes it has to do with joyful events. It could be just even simple things like a birthday or whatever it is, and we kind of, making a bit of commotion about that. Obviously, there are people who will be in difficulty because of family sickness, etc., and that's it. We try and support them as good as we can there. And unfortunately, and this always, I suppose, shocks me a little bit, is the number of students who have bereavements of people who are quite close to them, of parents, of siblings, and then obviously grandparents and wider. So we journey within all those. Now, in the past, people would, come into us, talk to us, etc. And people come in and out of the basic the chaplain stream quite a bit. What we've done quite a bit since COVID has happened is we have open Zoom rooms. So we would set up a Zoom meeting. Anybody can come in. I send out the link to every student, and anybody and everybody can come in. Now, sometimes we get a number, sometimes you don't get a number of people. Sometimes you get people and they actually talk to each other and they support each other. So that's that bit. Now we will have, and it works. It does give people the opportunity. I mean, if you were down in Cahersaveen or if you were in, up in Sligo and you're on an online course, you mightn't have much contact with other students. So it does give it does give an opportunity for people to do that. Now I know the students, you can do the same thing or did the same thing last year as a way of keeping contact. And it is like, now, I suppose there is the thing, you have to make the effort to make the initial
definitely.
And sometimes you find people do that a couple of times. They might come in, they might just, I suppose, almost eavesdrop on the meeting and then maybe it might be the third time they'd actually talk themselves, But there's a lot of chit chat that goes across that. I mean, it's not all serious stuff like it would be, That's that one. And then we will obviously, given whatever way the campus is open, we will have I did in the first. Okay, if you take COVID, we've had 3 semesters of it now. In the first semester of it, which was March on to June of last year, then we had from September to December, we actually did keep the chaplaincy room open and the co-op students were there and I was there and we were in and out. Now, the number, we had reduced the number of people down to 3 visitors at a time. The last semester, the college was much tighter in terms of who was allowed on campus. So we were only, the 2 boys I had with me were trying very hard, but it was difficult when they couldn't be on campus. So hopefully, it would seem that we will be on campus. The door will be open.
Fingers crossed. And finally, the last question for you, Father Wall, is how can students contact you?
Okay, basically, there are a number of ways of contacting me. One, my own mobile number. Well, first of all, we put the numbers up on the door. We put them up on the doors, the door of the chapel, the door of my office. My office is G48. So if you're coming down the corridor from the reception area in the foundation building down towards the church, I think it's the 4th door. And basically, if I'm there, my door is always open, literally always open. I always have my door open if I'm there. So if the door is open, I'm there, right? Secondly, my mobile number, I operate my mobile number 24/7, and that's 086 2550 436. And some people say, oh, you should be careful with your mobile and all that. I've had that mobile available to students, I think, since I started there in 2000. I got one crank phone call ever, and that was from a young fellow who was drunk, and he was blaming me for swiping his girlfriend. And I kind of explained to him, well, you're 21, I presume she's about 21, I'm 60, so I think maybe I didn't swipe her, right? And then I said, oh, I'm sorry, right? So basically, so that's there for that one. And then there is email, which is the chaplaincy.team@mic.ul.ie. There's the number now. There is.
That'll probably be on our website anyway.
There's the number for the chaplaincy room, which is 204-399. And then I have a landline as well if I'm in the office, 204-331. So, and anyway, if you contact any of the offices or if you contact any of the other support services, I say, look, want to get hold of chaplaincy, they'll give you, or they'll tell you where to find us.
Mm-hmm.
So
that sounds fantastic. Thanks so much for everything, Father Wall. It was great talking to you today, and we're looking forward to talking to you soon.
I hope that the year goes well, that we actually are on campus and we don't get closed down again. I suppose one thing I would be conscious of is when you look at it, I had first years last year, I never saw them. I actually never saw them. I saw a few of them. And now funny thing is, sometimes you'd be downtown and you see 2 or 3 girls or 2 or 3 fellas, and they'd look at you for just that little bit too long. And what they were doing is they might talk to you, and they were actually people you had in class, but they were checking to see was the face they saw on that was that bit. Second years really, so second years haven't been on campus. First years obviously won't have been on campus. Third years are, first of all, the BA ones are out on co-op, so they're not here. The BEds, some of them will be going towards doing placements, etc. And they were only here for a term anyway, just getting their legs under the table when we closed up. So it's only the fourth years really have an experience in the place. And in a sense, that's difficult because the normal haunts that people go to, the normal socializing places, pubs, kind of, various places, some of those are closed and not functioning, all that. So in a sense that people who are part of the student union, people who are part of chaplaincy, students like that, they will be very important in terms of being able to kind of direct people where to go. And I think that's going to be important to use all the services, or particularly use students who are on campus, because I think who will have a clue to this. Now, they don't have the total clue that they might have at other times, but at least a better idea, and
we're definitely looking forward to having students back on campus.
Yeah.